You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV.
And good afternoon. This is LCM TV News at noon. We're not your normal news, and I'm Pete Schiffman. Starting off with national news. Former President Jimmy Carter announced yesterday that his cancer is on 4 small spots on his brain, and he will immediately begin radiation treatment, saying he has had ease with whatever comes. So far, the pain has been very slight, and Carter said he hasn't felt any weakness or debility. Still, he will cut back on his work with the Carter Center and will give the treatment regime his top priority. His first radiation treatment was set for yesterday afternoon. Carter said at first he thought the cancer was confined to his liver and that the operation early this month had completely removed it. But that same afternoon, an MRI showed it was in his brain. He said it's still not clear exactly where the cancer originated, although with melanoma, he's told that 98% of the time it develops first in the skin. He also said the rest of his body would be scanned repeatedly for months to come and that more cancers may show up elsewhere. The cancer spots on his brain are about 2 millimeters, Carter said. President George W. Bush and President George Bush called him Wednesday and has received well wishes from President Barack Obama, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Secretary of State John Kerry, among many more well-wishers. Friday, North Korea declared its frontline troops in a quasi-state of war and warned of military operations a day after the rival Koreas exchanged fire across the world's most heavily armed border. The North has made similar bombastic claims before, and the huge numbers of soldiers and military equipment stationed along the Korea's tense border mean the area is always essentially in a quasi-state of war. Still, the declaration, following South Korea's firing of dozens of shells across the border after the North lobbed several rounds at a South Korean town, signals a worrying development. The North's official Korean Central News Agency reported Friday that leader Kim Jong-un ordered an emergency military meeting that his troops be fully ready for any military operations at any time from 5 p.m. Friday. The report said that military commanders were urgently dispatched for operations to attack South Korean psychological warfare facilities if the South doesn't stop operating them. The Korea's mine-strewn DMZ is a legacy of the 1950 through 53 Korean War, which ended with an armistice, not a peace treaty, leaving the Korean peninsula still technically in a state of war. South Korea has ordered border evacuations. Thursday, Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras of Greece called for new national elections in a bid to consolidate his power and press ahead with the $86 billion euro bailout plan he agreed to with European creditors. Tsipras said in a nationally televised address that he would submit his resignation to Greece's president, clearing the way for a vote on whether he and his leftist Syriza party should be returned to power with a new mandate. Officials said he would seek to schedule the vote for September 20th. For weeks, Tsipras has been weighing new elections amid a deep split among factions in Syriza over his embrace of the bailout plan. Elected in January, Tsipras took office as an austerity renegade, vowing to win a better debt deal for Greece. Yet after several tumultuous months, the Prime Minister reversed course and agreed to a new bailout program with the country's creditors, the European Central Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the other members of the Eurozone. Tsipras is betting that Greek voters, wary of instability, will support him in a new vote, enabling him to form a new government, minus hardline leftist dissenters. Despite his reversal in the bailout plan, Tsipras has remained highly popular, with the most recent polls in late July showing no other leader in a strong position to challenge him at this stage. Excuse me. The firefighters, members of a specially trained unit that is sent into danger ahead of everyone else to size up a wildfire, rushed up a narrow, winding gravel road with steep hills on either side. It proved to be a death trap. Their vehicle crashed, and before they could escape, flames rolled over them, killing 3 firefighters inside and injuring 4 others nearby, 1 critically. The tragedy Wednesday night brought to 13 the number of firefighters killed across the West this year during one of the driest and most explosive wildfire seasons on record. Fire officials with notebooks and cameras walked the hills and banks near Woods Canyon Road outside Twist, Washington, investigating how the disaster happened. Authorities gave few details, shedding no light, for example, on the crash, other than to say it was not the accident itself that killed the victims, but the fire. The deaths happened in the scenic Metho River Valley, among 115 miles northeast of Seattle, where a series of blazes covering close to 140 square miles had merged. The flames burned an undetermined number of homes and triggered orders to about 1,300 people in the outdoor recreation communities of Twist and Winthrop to evacuate. U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler announced the filing of formal charges against Jared Fogle for distributing and receiving child pornography and conspiring to do so, as well as repeatedly traveling to engage in commercial sex acts with underage minors. Fogle, 37, of Zionsville, Indiana, and former spokesman for the Subway sandwich chain, was charged by the FBI and has notified the U.S. District Court that he will plead guilty to all charges. He had his initial appearance before a magistrate judge earlier today and was released on home detention with a GPS monitoring and other conditions. The case was the result of a joint state, local, and federal investigation by the Indiana State Police, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, and the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, with assistance from the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. According to Minkler, Fogle had admitted in court pleadings that he had received child pornography involving multiple minors living in Indiana and other countries over the course of several years. His child pornography crime began when he learned that alleged co-conspirator Russell Taylor was sexually exploiting a 14-year-old girl in March 2011. At that time, Mr. Fogle did nothing to stop the abuse or report it to authorities, but chose instead to receive and repeatedly view the child pornography involving the girl and those other minors produced by his alleged co-conspirator in the years that followed. In total, Mr. Fogle admitted in court pleadings filed today that his actions caused the sexual victimization of a total of 12 minors in Indiana before his co-conspirator's arrest in April 2015. He preyed on minor victims who did not have the ability to protect themselves. If you're putting in more than 55 hours a week at work, the chances are good that you're working toward having a stroke, researchers say. A study involving more than 600,000 people found that people who work that many hours have a 33% higher stroke risk and a 13% higher risk of coronary heart disease than people working 35 to 40 hours a week. The researchers whose study is published in The Lancet say that the risk goes up every hour worked on top of the 40 a week, with those working up to 48 hours increasing the risk by 10% and those working up to 54 hours by 27%. The study is the largest one ever to examine the link between long hours and heart health, although researchers couldn't identify exactly what was causing the increased risk, even after controlling for factors like smoking. Factors like stress, poor diet, and lack of exercise account for much of the increased risk, researchers believe, make it important for people putting in long hours to take good care of themselves. Working long hours can involve sitting for long periods of time and experiencing stress and leads to less time available to look after yourself. A team of treasure hunters scoured the waters of Florida last month, recovered a $4.5 million bounty of gold coins, including several made for the King of Spain, Philip V, in the early 1700s. The fine, made July 30th and 31st off the coast of Vero Beach, was announced Wednesday by Brett Brisbane, captain of the Capitana. Brisbane and his crew reportedly found 350 gold coins, 9 of which are known as royals and valued at $300,000 apiece. The discovery, which comes from the 1715 fleet shipwreck, was made on the 300th anniversary of the July 30th, 1715 tragedy, when the entire fleet of 11 ships traveling from Havana to Spain was lost at sea after it ran afoul of a hurricane. More than 1,000 people died. The recovered treasure will be shared by Brisbane, co-captain Jonah Martinez, driver William Bartlett, and Dan Beckingham. Brisbane owns Queen's Jewels, a historic shipwreck salvage operation that has exclusive rights to the 1750 treasure fleet. The state of Florida can receive 20% of the recovered artifacts for the purposes of displaying in its museum in Tallahassee. Coming up next is the regional news, and we'll be right back.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
And welcome back, starting with regional news. California prosecutors have broadened their civil lawsuit against popular online ride-sharing service Uber, alleging that its background checks missed people convicted of murder and sex crimes. The district attorneys of San Francisco and Los Angeles filed an amended complaint against Uber Technologies, Inc. on Tuesday, saying that systematic failures in Uber's background check process came to light after initial December filing. New complaint says registered sex offenders, identity thieves, burglars, a kidnapper, and a convicted murderer had all passed the firm's screening process and had been driving for the company until they were cited for providing illegal rides. I support technological innovation. Innovation, however, does not give companies a license to mislead consumers about issues affecting their safety, San Francisco District Attorney George Gaskin said. San Francisco-based Uber said in a statement, its screening system has been as effective as, and at times more effective than, a different system used by taxi companies. The company added that last year it had rejected more than 600 people who had applied to become taxi and livery drivers in Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco because they had been convicted of violent and drunken driving crimes. In the complaint filed in December, prosecutors contended that Uber drivers work at airports without obtaining authorization and have charged an extra $4 fee to passengers traveling there without paying anything to the airport. One of the fastest growing sharing economy companies, Uber operates its ride-sharing program in 57 countries and has an estimated value of more than $40 billion. The firm has been fighting in courts elsewhere in the United States. Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey notified the Board of Supervisors last week that their vote on a controversial downtown jail plan violated the state's open meetings law, the latest in a string of incidents in which the board has run afoul of the Ralph M. Brown Act. In a letter sent last Thursday, Lacey told the board that its August 11th vote on the jail plan did not comply with the Brown Act, which requires that officials give the public adequate notice when they plan to discuss an issue so that everyone can participate. The board voted last week to move forward with the design and construction of a new 3,885-bed jail to replace the dilapidated Men's Central Jail. But the jail plan did not appear on the publicly posted agenda before the meeting. Instead, the supervisors added the vote to an item on the agenda involving a new multi-million-dollar program to divert mentally ill criminal defendants from county jails. If there are any doubts that global warming has exacerbated California's 4-year drought, a new study puts them to rest by quantifying the impact for the first time. Rising temperatures are worsening the drought by up to 25%. While natural weather cycles are largely responsible for the historic drought, man-made emissions of greenhouse gases are intensifying the severity of the drought by raising air temperatures, according to a report by the Earth Institute at Columbia University. Because warmer air evaporates moisture faster, rising temperatures mean we have to get more rain just to break even, said A. Park Williams, the lead author of the report. The researchers analyzed monthly data on precipitation, temperatures, humidity, wind, and other factors from 1901 to 2014. Hey, they're participating. And concluded that average temperatures in California climbed about 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit in that period. When rainfall declined in 2012, the warmer air sucked the little moisture left in the soil, trees, and crops at a faster rate because temperatures are higher. At least 20% of the severity of the drought is caused by global warming, and 80% is due to natural variability. So global warming makes the drought 25% worse than it would be in the absence of global warming. California is hoping that a strong El Nino will bring much needed rain to the parched region this fall and winter. But even if there are heavy rainfalls, higher temperatures will evaporate a large portions of precipitation, leaving crops still thirsty. That's a tongue twister, folks. On Thursday, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife released photos of 5 wolf pups with a pair of adults, one of them thought to be the wolf seen in the spring. It is the first confirmed sighting of a gray wolf pack in modern California history. The development caught state biologists by surprise, and they're now scrambling to revise and finalize a wolf management plan that has been under development since another gray wolf known as OR7 wandered in California from Oregon in late 2011. OR7's arrival marked the state's first confirmed wolf sighting since 1924. At the time, biologists said it was only a matter of time before wolves became established in California, but they didn't expect it to be so soon. Thursday's announcement followed news last month that trail cameras set out by state biologists had photographed a lone wolf, not OR7, near McLeod in May and July. The agency set out additional cameras in the same area. That resulted in multiple photos showing 5 pups and 2 adults. The entire pack has black fur. The pups appear to be about 4 months old and weigh 35 to 40 pounds. Given the proximity to Mount Shasta, state officials are calling the family the Shasta Pack. Not everyone is thrilled. OR7's travels in California prompted fierce debate about how to manage wolves in the state. Amid opposition from some hunting and ranching groups, the Fish and Game Commission voted last year to protect wolves under the State Endangered Species Act. A federal appeals court ruled Thursday Oakland has no right to challenge the government's attempt to shut down the huge Arborside medical marijuana dispensary, even though it would cost the city millions of dollars in tax revenues. U.S. Attorney Melinda Haig filed suit in July 2012 to confiscate the Harborside Health Center's property along the Oakland estuary for violating the federal ban on marijuana. Arborside, which serves 108,000 patients, is the nation's largest licensed pot dispensary, is filing the forfeiture suit in federal court, saying it violates other federal laws and the Obama administration's stated policy of deferring to state medical marijuana laws. Its case has been on hold while the courts decide whether the city can intervene. Oakland's suit against the Justice Department argues that it has a financial stake in Arborside's survival. The city said it collected more than $1.4 million in taxes from Harborside and 3 other city licensed dispensaries in 2012. City officials said a shutdown would also increase crime by forcing many of the dispensary's patients to turn to street dealers. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals agreed Thursday that Oakland has interests of its own at stake, but said the federal government has the authority to decide when to seek confiscation of property for alleged legal violations, and neither the city nor any other outsider has the right to intervene. Cedric Chow, a lawyer for Oakland, said the city would consider a further appeal. The ruling means Oakland and its citizens have been harmed, but have no access to the courts, Chow said. Pushing hard to at last regulate California's free-for-all medical marijuana industry, state lawmakers are wrestling with how a tightly regulated cannabis market would work. Increasingly, the answer looks to be a lot like the market for alcohol. Long-standing alcohol laws rigidly separate producers, distributors, and vendors. The decades-old Tide House formula was conceived largely as an antidote to the gangsterism of Prohibition, seeking to disrupt the liquor monopolies organized crime groups had established. If Assembly Bill 266 passes, as looks more likely than any other previous attempt, given the support of law enforcement, cities, and the large majority of Assembly members who voted it off the floor, a similar approach could apply to medical cannabis. At stake is the future of medical cannabis market, estimated to be worth more than $1.2 billion in 2014, from which players profit to which strains of cannabis land in front of consumers. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's organic standards, written 15 years ago, strictly banned petroleum-derived fertilizers commonly used in conventional agriculture. But the same rules do not prohibit farmers from irrigating their crops with petroleum-laced wastewater obtained from oil and gas wells, a practice that is increasingly common in drought-stricken Southern California. As reported in Mother Jones last month, oil companies last year supplied half the water that went to the 45,000 acres of farmland in Kern County's Cowillo Water District, farmland that is owned in part by Sunview, a company that sells certified organic raisins and grapes. Food watchdog groups are concerned that the state hasn't required oil companies to disclose all the chemicals they use in oil drilling and fracking operations, much less set safety limits for those chemicals in irrigation water. Wednesday, state officials released a list of California groundwater basins that have been the most severely depleted by pumping, with the San Joaquin Valley suffering the most, but a few areas in Southern California also heavily affected. The list of 21 basins and some basins suffer from what the state deems critical overdraft, a condition in which significantly more water has been taken out of a basin than has been put in. This is one snapshot of some significant issues we're facing, and everybody's got to come together. Move forward and fix them, Laureen Bisnet, a spokeswoman for the State Department of Water Resources, said Wednesday. In the state's fourth year of drought, Californians in need of water have increasingly turned to groundwater, digging deeper and deeper wells as other supply run dry. But overdraft can cause the land to gradually sink. A NASA report also released Wednesday showed that pumping too much groundwater has caused land in some parts of San Joaquin Valley to subside faster than ever. California's health insurance exchange is still sluggish when it comes to resolving customer service problems, leaving many people unable to access health care or finalize their tax returns, a consumer advocacy group said yesterday. Covered California has been slow to fix enrollment mistakes entered into its computer system, according to the Health Consumer Alliance, which is made up of legal aid groups throughout the state. Exchange staff has a limited ability to update a state computer program for determining whether people are eligible to enroll in Covered California or in Medi-Cal, the state's low-income health program. Covered California's executive director, Peter Lee, responded yesterday at their board meeting that a very small percentage of customers file appeals when they are rejected, and the exchange is committed to resolving problems quickly. Since March, the agency says it has added staff to resolve disputes informally without having to go through an administrative law proceeding. The agency will provide a detailed report on the number of appeals and their status at the next board meeting in October. The Alliance also claims Covered California has failed to correct tax subsidy forms in a timely manner, preventing people from getting tax credits or amending their taxes. Earlier this year, Covered California apologized for sending out more than 100,000 incorrect tax forms to people who received sliding scale subsidies to help them purchase private health insurance. The exchange acknowledged sending inaccurate coverage information on 1095A forms when 800,000 forms went out for the first time this year. The federal health care law requires most people to have insurance or face a tax penalty that increases each year. State Treasurer John Chang today announced the sale of $1.9 billion in tax-exempt State of California general obligation bonds. These bonds help strengthen our communities by helping to fund the construction of roads, schools, and other important infrastructure projects, Chang said. Not only are we investing in vital projects, but we're also saving taxpayers' dollars by refinancing past debt by obtaining a lower interest rate, which will save the state millions of dollars. Since Chang took office earlier this year, he has carried out 8 different refinancings that will together save taxpayers more than $1 billion over the life of the bonds. We have to take advantage of our recent credit upgrades, and I encourage individual and institutional investors to get behind California and help us make this a sale of success, added Chang. A total of $1.35 billion from this sale will be used to refinance existing bond debt. The remaining $550 million of the sale will be used to provide permanent financing for capital facilities or other voter-approved projects and public facilities. Up next is the local news. We'll be back in a few minutes.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Welcome back. In local news, on August 18th at approximately 9:45 p.m., deputies responded to a resident located in the 17,000 block of Acacia Way in Spring Valley, Clear Lake Oaks, for a reported stabbing. When deputies arrived, they located the victim, who appeared to be suffering from multiple puncture wounds. The victim said just prior to the incident, he was standing outside in front of his residence. He noticed 2 male adults walking towards him from the street. The victim described one of the subjects as being a Hispanic male, approximately 30 years old, who was wearing a blue hoodie. The other subject was described as being an African American male, approximately 30 years old, who was bald with a goatee and wearing a blue shirt. The victim said he had never seen either subject before as they walked towards him. He also said that neither of the subjects said anything as they walked up and started assaulting him. The victim told the deputies that he knew he had been stabbed, but did not know who had stabbed him or what type of weapon was used. He did notice that both subjects ran down the street towards the Spring Valley Pantry. Medical personnel arrived on scene and had the victim transported to a trauma center outside of Lake County due to the seriousness of his injuries. Deputies also contacted witnesses who were at the residence during the assault. They said the suspects pushed the victim into his residence, which is where the assault occurred. The suspects held multiple witnesses inside the residence while they were attacking the victim and would not let them leave. The witnesses were able to escape while the suspects' attention was diverted. Deputies conducted a search of the area and were unable to locate the suspects. They did locate and seize evidence during the course of their investigation. This case is currently under investigation, and if anyone has additional information as to the identity of the suspects, they are urged to contact the Lake County Sheriff's Office at 707-263-2690. As previously reported on LCM TV, on August 17th at approximately 10:14 a.m., Clear Lake Police responded to the 14,000 block of Woodland Drive on a report of shots fired. Officers arriving on scene located an individual who had suffered gunshot injuries. The victim was pronounced deceased at the scene by paramedics. The victim of this homicide has been identified as 36-year-old Arnaldo Rangel Villanova. The exact cause of death is pending a scheduled autopsy. Identified as 36-year-old Arnaldo Rangel Villanueva. The exact cause of death is pending a scheduled autopsy. Any person with information in relation to this case is encouraged to contact Detective Elvis Cook at the Clear Lake Police Department at 707-994-8251, extension 315. A vehicle of interest in this incident is a white Ford pickup, standard cab with a USA sticker on both rear quarter panels. On August 13th at approximately 12:42 p.m., a Mendocino County deputy sheriff was dispatched to a residence in the 200 block of Ramsey Road in Laytonville to investigate a reported burglary. The victim, a man in his 70s, reported that he awoke late that morning to find that someone had entered his home as he slept. His door had been left open and beverages from his refrigerator had been removed and the empty containers left in and around his house. A decorative sword and a Winchester rifle had been stolen. The victim's 16-year-old husky dog had either wandered out the open door or had been taken and was missing. The deputy processed the scene for evidence and concluded a field investigation of the scene at that time without identifying a suspect. 2 days later, the investigating deputy spoke to a Laytonville resident post-CHP officer who advised he had arrested Andrew Byer, a transient from Oregon, that same day in Willits for DUI, hit and run, and possession of a stolen vehicle. The stolen vehicle had been taken from a residence very near to the scene of the burglary. Byer was incarcerated in the Mendocino County Jail at the time on CHP case. The close proximity of the two crimes, combined with a comment Byer made to the CHP officer about drinking someone else's beer, caused the investigating deputy to go to the Mendocino County Jail to interview Byer about the burglary. After concluding his interview of Byer, the deputy called the same CHP officer and provided information regarding the location of the stolen rifle. The CHP officer recovered the Winchester rifle in tall grass less than a block from the victim's home. The victim's dog and sword have not been located. Byer was arrested for burglary. His bail has been set at $15,000. On August 10th at approximately 5:17 p.m., deputies from the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office responded to a residence in the 100 block of Manzanita Court in Laytonville to investigate reported incident of domestic violence. A 5-year-old girl has reported to a family member that her mother has been struck in the face by her cohabitant boyfriend. Upon arrival, the suspect, Mark Ray, age 36, stayed hidden in the house while female relative assured deputies that no one with that name was inside. As the deputies walked away, they observed a male through a window and heard the sounds of conflict from inside. They contacted Mark Ray in his backyard. Mark Ray refused to identify himself and tried to step back into his house, despite several warnings not to do so. He also physically resisted their attempts to keep him outside of the house. He was arrested at the time for obstructing or resisting an officer in the performance of his duties in violation of probation. His sister, 39-year-old Lisa Ray of Santa Rosa, was also arrested for obstructing or resisting an officer when she attempted to come to his aid as he struggled with the deputies. Ray's 44-year-old cohabitant girlfriend arrived at the time, was interviewed about the reported assault. Visible redness and swelling below her left eye was consistent with the child's report that she had been struck by a blow from a hand. At the conclusion of the field investigation, Mark Ray was also arrested for felony spousal abuse. Mark Ray was transported to the Mendocino County Jail and held in lieu of a $25,000 bond. Lisa Ray was also transported to county jail and lodged for a misdemeanor charge for resisting or obstructing an officer. The sunny days and mild temperatures along the Sonoma and Mendocino coast are attracting many visitors who are parking their cars and leaving them unattended while they enjoy the day at the beach. Unfortunately, not all of those drawn to the coast on such days come to enjoy the sights. On August 10th, thieves took advantage of this, breaking windows out of several cars parked along Highway 1 in both Sonoma and Mendocino counties, stealing items of apparent value left in plain sight, such as purses, clothing, and computers. Please remember not to leave valuables in your unattended vehicle and help us prevent these crimes by reporting to law enforcement any suspicious persons or vehicles. Persons with information which may help solve these crimes are encouraged to call the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office at 707-234-2100 or via email at crimetip@mendocinosheriff.com. The Napa Valley community will come together to reflect on the one-year anniversary of the South Napa earthquake on August 24, 2015 at 3:20 p.m. in Veterans Memorial Park. The event is being coordinated by the City of Napa, County of Napa, and the Napa Valley Unified School District. The public is invited to attend the event that will commemorate the earthquake highlight the progress of the community, and underscore the need for constant earthquake preparation. Assemblymember Dodd will join Congressman Thompson, Senator Wolk, Napa Mayor Techchil, and others to address the audience. The anniversary also coincides with milestones for a pair of bills co-authored by Senator Wolk and Assemblymember Dodd providing earthquake relief to impacted communities. Senate Bill 35, which would provide tax relief to victims, passed the legislature and is awaiting governor's signature. Assembly Bill 18, which would defray the costs incurred by local government as a result from the earthquake, will be voted on by the Senate Appropriations Committee on August 27th. Assemblymember Dodd issued the following statement on the one-year anniversary of the South Napa earthquake. We can all be proud of how our community came together after the earthquake. Both the immediate aftermath and over the last year, we've rallied together and have really come a long way. Even now, 1 year after South Napa earthquake, there is still more work to be done, as there are still families and businesses struggling with the recovery process. This anniversary also provides an opportunity to highlight the critical need to prepare for the next earthquake, and I encourage everyone to take reasonable precaution, said Assemblymember Dodd. A message from your forest. Your forests, streams, and wildlife need your help. The Rainforest Alliance is coming to town on August 25th at 7 p.m. at the Casper Community Center. They're coming to recertify, some would say, rubber stamp Mendocino Redwood Company's hack and squirt practices. Come speak up for the health of our forests and streams and the safety of our communities. Signed, the Mighty Tan Oak. Also on the 25th, which is a Tuesday, members of the Hack and Squirt Alert will be at the Mendocino Redwood Corporation's headquarters in Calpella. The Hack and Squirt technique is for control of larger trees. These photos taken from the air tell the story of destruction of oak trees caused by this Forest Stewardship Council. Smartwood Green Certified Company, which Home Depot charges you a premium for the privilege of buying. Your tax dollars will also go to fighting any fire that should occur on their lands. In addition to harvesting of conifers, redwoods, and Doug fir, they kill 1 million oak trees and other hardwoods every year that they say compete for sunlight and water with the conifers. They inject live trees with a poison, impacifer, that leaves them dead and standing, creating a fire hazard which threatens the health of county residents and its economy. Representatives of the Mendocino Environmental Center and other environmental groups will be demanding an opportunity to speak with Rainforest Alliance certifiers for all those who can't make it to Casper later that evening. They will be meeting at the Laundromat on North State Street in Capella, just north of the Superette at 9 a.m. They plan to be there until noon. Strong numbers make a better impression. They ask that you please take the time to make it. Certification is critical to Mendocino Redwood Company. Their whole advertising campaign is predicated on their being able to say that they are a green company with FSC certification. Ed Neves of the MEX, Ed Neves of the MEX stated, this opportunity has presented just as we are gearing up our campaign and getting ready to take to San Francisco and Sacramento. For more information, contact me at 707-463-1760. Four well-known local musicians take the stage at the Soper Reese Theater on Friday, September 18th at 7 o'clock p.m. as part of the theater's third Friday live series. Tickets are $15. Dance floor will be open. The Take 4 Jazz Quartet is made of Matt Cameron on guitar, Dan Williamson on drums, Tom Gagnon on piano keyboard, and Larry Putterball on bass. Cameron, Williamson, and Ganog teach music at the Ukiah School of Music, and Putterball teaches music in the Ukiah Unified School District. The group will perform its own jazz arrangements of popular music from Antonio Carlos Jobim, David Brubeck, Paul Desmond, Charles Mingus, Paul McCartney, Van Morrison, Herbie Hancock, and Michael Bublé. Sorry about that, folks. Bublé. I don't speak French.
I don't speak male singer.
The Soper Reese Theater is at 275 South Main Street, Lakeport. Tickets are available online at http.
No, just Soper Reese Theater.
Well, then why do you put it in there?
I just-
SoperReeseTheater.com.
2 o'clock in the morning.
At the theater box office, 275 South Main Street, Lakeport, on Fridays 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Or at the Travel Center, 1265 South Main, Lakeport, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, call 707-263-0577, and that's why we call this Not Your Normal News. The 1975 comedy drama One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest screens at the Soper Reese Theater in Lakeport on Tuesday, September 8th, with show times at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. Starring Jack Nicholson as the freewheeling McMurphy who plays crazy to avoid prison work detail and finds himself pitted against Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched, a malicious ice queen if ever there was one. This film adoption of adaptation of Ken Casey's classic novel about the establishment's power to force conformity on the human spirit won 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. The movie is sponsored by Jim Aldrich and is rated R. Entry to the film
R, period.
is rated R. Entry to the film is by donation. Soper Reese Theater is located at 275 South Main Street, Lakeport, 707-263-0577. Go to SoperReeseTheater.com for more information.
See, I did it that time.
This Saturday, August 22nd, Bill Notman and the Rockets will be performing at Parducci Winery's Acoustic Cafe. Go to Parducci.com for more information. Wednesday, August 26th, Dave Broida's Blues Farm are going to be playing at the Smiling Dogs Ranch in Kelseyville. Go to www.smilingdogsranch.com for more info on that. Mojo Larry says, support live music. See you there. We'll be back with the weather and sports and our last word.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
And we're back with the weather. Today we'll feature more abundant sunshine with a high of 91. Winds are out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight will provide us clear skies and a low of 59. Winds shifting from the south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Saturday will be mainly sunny and the high will remain at 91. Winds from the southeast increasing to 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night there will be clear skies and a low of 58. Winds will be from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday we can look forward to more sunshine and the high will remain around 90. Winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Sunday night will bring in partly cloudy skies and a low of 58. Winds will be out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. When we return Monday, we'll be back to sunny skies and a high of 91. Winds will be out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And in sports, 3 venues in Lake County are hosting the NorCal Disc Golf Series 2015 Championship Tournament the weekend of October 17th and 18th. Golfers in Pro, Advanced, Advanced Master, and a variety of other divisions will take turns playing at the Highland Springs Disc Golf Course, south of Lakeport, Buckingham Golf and Country Club, and Black Rock Golf Club on Cobb Mountain. A field of more than 200 disc golfers is expected to participate on the 3 18-hole courses. The weekend's activities include check-in and a party on October 16th at a location to be determined. On October 17th, rounds of 1 and 2 take place. In round 1, at 8:30 a.m. start, the pros play at Highland Springs. The Advanced and Vast Master divisions compete at Black Rock, while all other divisions square off at Buckingham. In round 2, at 2 p.m. start, the pro visit Black Rock, Advanced and Advanced Masters play at Buckingham, and all other divisions compete at Highland Springs. On October 18th, the tournament wraps up with round 3, a 9 o'clock start. The pros finish at Buckingham, the Masters and Advanced Masters at Highland Springs, and all other divisions meet at Black Rock. The award ceremony follows at 3 p.m. at Buckingham. Disc golf. Who would have thunk it? The Lakeport Yacht Club is hosting its 4th annual Catfish Derby on August 29th and 30th. Sign-ups will be accepted August 28th from noon to 9 p.m. and at the club office on 5th Street Pier in Lakeport. Weigh-in times are from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday and from 8 a.m. to noon on Sunday. Prize money is awarded to the fishermen catching the 5 heaviest catfish in the age of 16 and older division, and to the fishermen catching the 3 heaviest catfish in the under 16 division. The entry fee is $50 for the adult division and $15 for the youth division. Call Mike at 279-1974 for more information. The San Francisco Giants have acquired outfielder Marlon Byrd and cash from the Cincinnati Reds for minor league reliever Steven Johnson. Giants general manager Bobby Evans confirmed the trade, which also was announced by Cincinnati on Thursday. A day after losing out on second baseman Chase Utley, who the Phillies traded to the NL West leading Los Angeles Dodgers, the Giants made their own move to boost an outfield that has been dealt with injuries to all 3 starters. Center fielder Angel Pagan is on the 15-day disabled list with a right knee injury. Left fielder Norioki came off a 7-day concussion list Thursday ahead of the series opener at Pittsburgh as right fielder Hunter Pence went out on the DL with a strained left oblique injury. San Francisco 49ers traded tight end Asante Cleveland to the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots for offensive lineman Jordan DeVay on Tuesday. The trade is still needed to be finalized through the NFL, and the players were expected to take physicals once they made their cross-country flights to their new teams, which could complete the deal as soon as Wednesday. San Francisco announced agreement to the swap on Tuesday. San Francisco had an excess of tight ends, led by veteran Vernon Davis. The 23-year-old Cleveland, an undrafted free agent out of Miami last year, spent most of 2014 on the Niners practice squad before being promoted to the active roster November 27th. DeVay started 4 games last season and played in 7. He spent 2013 on the Patriots practice squad. He likely will add depth to a new-look Niners line featuring players who have moved positions following their offseason departures of right tackle Anthony Davis, who retired following a head injury late last year, and left guard Mike Uyapate, who signed a free agent deal with NFC West rival Arizona Cardinals. Kevon Looney, the defending NBA champion Warriors' first-round pick in June's draft, is expected to be out 4 to 6 months while recovering from surgery to repair a torn labrum in his hip, the team said in a statement Thursday. The arthroscopic procedure was performed at the Vail Valley Surgery Center in Colorado. And now for our final word. For years, Canadians have enjoyed turning Sir Wilfrid Laurier into Mr. Spock and Severus Snape on $5 bills. Sadly, those days are nearly done. Using a pen or pencil to illegally but hilariously alter the picture of a former prime minister is about to become nearly impossible in November when the Bank of Canada puts the new polymer $5 into circulation. Not only will it be more difficult to use a pen or pencil on the plastic money, but the new image of Laurier really doesn't look very much like Spock or Snape. The bills were announced in 2011, and the new $100, $50, and $20 bills are already in circulation. While making the $5 bill, like Leonard Nimoy, was just a writing utensil, will become a thing of the past. Users on Reddit are already plotting to use digital memes to keep the meme alive. Some are even getting getting Justin Bieber involved. Sorry, that makes me ill. Thank you for joining us. Our next show is at 3 o'clock today, the Pasha Space Show. We will be back on Monday.
Saturday morning.
Excuse me, I forgot. Saturday morning with Sister T, bringing you 3 hours of music starting at 9 a.m. We'll be back on Monday at 12 o'clock noon with LCM TV News at noon. We're not your normal news. I'm Pete Schiffman, and have a great weekend.